Hey everyone, happy Monday. It's Jo, and it's time for a Puck It with Jo. We've got 5 games to go over today. We're starting off early because you can catch me on the grid on Game Time Decisions today at 6:25 Eastern, so make sure you head on over and check it out. We will be talking tonight's a Monday Night Football game with Kevin Walsh. So let's get into these hockey games. Like I said, 5 games on deck. Now, yesterday, I was so disappointed the Sharks weren't able to cover that puck line. But if you talk hurdle there for the anytime goal, that was coming in at plus 200. There's a couple other things that we did make some money with. We got the Sens game over 1.5 in the first period versus the Knights. And the Washington Capitals, and I tell you, that was my favorite bet of the day. Looking at them on the puck line, plus 1.5 was minus 137, but we did cash them on the money line if you tail. That was coming in at like plus 180. Let's make some money today. I love it. You guys, thank you for joining. No matter where you're joining, I appreciate it. I can see all of your comments coming in, so ask those questions, anything you want to know on these games tonight or looking ahead at the slate for tomorrow is fine as well. Okay, we got the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Detroit Red Wings, and we're going to kick it off with this game here. All of the odds are over at FanDuel. We do have the Ducks coming in at plus 205. The Detroit Red Wings at minus 260, total 6.5, minus 118 to the under, minus 104 to the over. Looking at this matchup, it's hard to think that the Ducks, who did break that losing streak, getting their win versus the Devils on Sunday, could get a win again here today. Second night of a back-to-back for this team. I don't have faith in them. The Red Wings here, I think, are the stronger team. We do know Dylan Larkin back in this lineup. I expect them to be able to get the win. I also expect them to find the back of Dostal's net. Dostal coming in here for the Ducks has a 3.93 goals against average and a save percentage of .887. The Ducks have been struggling to score, and we know that. The 5 goals versus the Devils, it was only a matter of time before they broke that losing streak, but I just can't see it coming in again today, and for their defense to play as strong. I'm going to look at the Ducks team total here. I think this is a perfect one to take to that under. The team total under 2.5 coming in at minus 124 for the Anaheim Ducks. Husso in goal tonight for the Detroit Red Wings. He's got a 3.47 goals against average, so that number isn't great. Save percentage of .895. But I do think that this defense will step up in this one. I do like this team offensively to be able to get those goals as well. They lost their last 2. They lost that last one to the Flyers. That was a tough loss for them, 1-0. So we know this defense can lock down, and I do think this is a lower scoring one for the Ducks. I don't know about the Red Wings. I think they could capitalize in this one. I don't hate their team total over that 3.5. I do like them on the puck line in the first period, laying the half a goal. You're getting plus 116 there versus the full game. If you like the 1.5 in the full game, I do think you'll cash as well. That's minus 104. So I like the plus money in that first period. Get in and get out on this game. And Dylan Larkin, like I said, back out there on the ice. So Alex DeBrincat, Patrick Kane, this team is stacked and should be able to score tonight. Let's look at the Minnesota Wild. Now, the Minnesota Wild taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh Penguins a favorite at home at minus 120. Plus 100 for the Minnesota Wild, total of 6.5. Now, this 6.5 juice to that under at minus 134. It's a lot of juice to lay on an under. I understand why this number is juiced to the under, but what if I tell you guys, I kind of like this over 6.5 in this one at plus 110. I'm leaning that way because I do think the Pittsburgh Penguins, with what we've seen out of them versus the Minnesota Wild, will get 4 goals. So it all depends on how many goals the Wild come in and get in this one. Now, this is the first night of a back-to-back for the Minnesota Wild. They do have the Boston Bruins on deck tomorrow. Their last 2 games have gone to shootout. So I do expect their defense to be a little bit tired in this one. Gustafsson is confirmed in net for them. Not my favorite goalie. He's got a 2.84 goals against average, a .908 save percentage. I think the Penguins in this one, Sidney Crosby is going to come out so strong. This is a team off a loss that was tragically bad. It's like this team will remember that loss and haunt their dreams. They lost the last game to the Leafs on Saturday. That was a 7-0 a loss for them. And I think off of that loss, they bounce back. Yeah, Sidney Crosby, absolutely. 3+ shots on goal. I love, let me know what juice you're laying on that, Jimmy. I wouldn't want to lay a lot of juice because we know the over 2.5 or the 3+ sometimes were juice. I could see him getting 4 in this one. Excuse me for one. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I could really see him getting those shots coming in. The Minnesota Wild allowing 30.4 shots on goal per game. Their kill isn't phenomenally strong at 73%. I think Sidney Crosby is pivotal for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And yes, this team is only averaging 2.83 goals per game. We look at that team total of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I tell you, this plus money at 3.5 to the over at plus 130 is absolutely screaming at me. They've gone over 3.5 goals, so 4+ goals in the last 6 matchups versus the Minnesota Wild. This is a team that they can actually score on. They've also dominated this matchup. They've won 8 of the last 10 meetings over the Minnesota Wild. There are some teams that just have other teams' numbers, and they've also won the last 3 in a row. So I do think the Penguins here are the right side. You can take them on the money line, laying minus 120. And if you're looking at the Penguins to have a big game, you always, Jimmy, have to circle Sidney Crosby. I do think he'll get those shots on goal. I also do expect that anytime goal for him, that's coming in at plus 130. The weight of the team really does rely on his shoulders. Now, it is asking a lot, though, for the Penguins to put up over 3.5 goals on Minnesota. Because you look at the Minnesota Wild, and ever since the coaching change, this team has been locking down so strong defensively. I just can't see in this game with the Bruins on deck tomorrow that really intense defensive game in this one. They're off that. They won the last 3. They're off that. Excuse me. My throat is just killing me. 1 second. Oh, you guys, I've been talking way too much, obviously, stupid throat today. You just look at the Minnesota Wild here and what they've done since the coaching change. They've been able to really lock down defensively. They've only allowed more than 2 goals in just one time, I believe, in their last 8 games. It's been absolutely phenomenal what this defense has done. So I understand if you don't want that plus money with the Penguins over 3.5, it's plus 130. You're getting plus money for a reason. It's going to be super hard for the Penguins to score 3 or 4 goals in this one. I do like the value we're getting over 3.5 just because of their track record versus the Wild and how strong they have played them. The money line definitely is the stronger of the two. And minus 120, you're not laying too much juice. Let's look at the Montreal Canadiens versus the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the Montreal Canadiens and Winnipeg Jets kick off at 7:40 tonight. With the Montreal Canadiens, they're a huge dog in this one. Plus 205. I've been trying to find a way to want to back this team. And while I love what I've seen out of Montreal, young, scrappy team that never gives up, at this price, I can't get behind them. Even the plus 1.5 on the puck line at minus 122, I'm kind of shying away from. The Winnipeg Jets have been phenomenally strong. Connor Hellebuck in net at home. They're minus 255, though, on that money line. We got a total of 5.5 at plus 110 to the under, minus 134 to the over. So we look at the Montreal Canadiens, and they have won 7 of the last 10 matchups over the Winnipeg Jets, but the form that the Winnipeg Jets are playing in right now and with how strong and dialed in Connor Hellebuck is being, I can't fade the Winnipeg Jets. But I really don't want to take them on the puck line. They have been solid at home on the puck line, a 9-5 on that puck line. But like I said, this Montreal team never gives up in these games. What I would like to see and what I'm going to do is I'm going to live bet this one after Winnipeg goes up. I'll probably grab the Montreal Canadiens plus the 2.5. I don't expect a lot of goals in this one. I expect it to stay under that number of 5.5. 3-2 style game. But the value on the plus 1.5 for Montreal is not enough at this point. Plus 1.5 is coming in minus 122. I want a plus 1.5 at plus 110. That is the number that I'm looking for out there. So once you get some more value, live betting this game should be a solid way to go. I do think Montreal only gets 2 goals in this one. 3-2 style game. Montreal's team total under 2.5, although it's juicy at minus 146, I think is a really solid play. Could Connor Hellebuck get the shutout tonight? This is something that I am debating taking in this one, and I'm just going to look at these odds here for you. They still don't have a number up for Connor Hellebuck to be able to get the shutout. I do think it's quite possible in this one with his recent form. He's been playing phenomenally strong. He's got a 9.17 goals against average of 2.41 goals against average, and that save percentage 0.917. Sorry. Jake Allen on the other side of the net. If this was Sam Montague, I would love this under even more, but Jake Allen's still coming out with decent numbers. That save percentage of 0.901. Goals against average, though, is high at 3.57. And the Montreal Canadiens allow these shots to come flying in at 34.4. You got to remember Kyle Connor is out of the lineup for the Winnipeg Jets, but this team really does lock down defensively, and that's what I'm expecting in this one, for them to just be a complete defensive mindset in this game. I do like that first period under 1.5. You're getting the under in the first period at -108. The no goal in the first 10 minutes, it's always a coin flip here. But I do think with the defensive play here, I don't think we see a goal in that first 10 minutes at +116. It's so much value. Now, in the last 10 starts for Connor Hellebuck, he's only allowed 2 goals or fewer in each of those 10 starts. So Montreal's team total under 2.5 at -146 does scream value. There is no crying in baseball or hockey. Okay. Let's get this money today, you guys. And the under 6.5 in this one, I really do think. Lower scoring one. Okay, Joey Daccord is in net for the Seattle Kraken tonight. I'm just looking at current odds on this one. This is probably one of the harder games here, the Seattle Kraken versus the Dallas Stars. Both of these teams haven't been impressing me offensively as of late, but I have a feeling with Dallas's schedule, I think this is their third game in 4 nights. I think Dallas's schedule will provide a lack of defense in this game. They're coming in at -184. We have a team in the Seattle Kraken that are more rested. The total of 6.5, -120 to the under, -102 to the over. I'm leaning over in this one. I do think this is a 4-3 style game. One that the Dallas Stars should be able to win, but there's no value on that money line. I don't like it in regulation either. I think this is one that has every opportunity of going to OT. You look at the strong power play and kill of the Dallas Stars, and that's what should prevail in this game. It is just that schedule that we're seeing. Now, they're off that loss to the St. Louis Blues OT on Saturday. That was a 4-3 loss. The Seattle Kraken roll in off a shootout loss versus the LA Kings, one where they actually did a pretty strong job at locking the Kings down. That was a 3-2 loss in that one. They are playing the Kings back on Wednesday in LA. So this team definitely has that next matchup circled. But I do think this game here, with those struggles offensively that we've seen with Dallas, with tired legs, that we see more goals in this one. So I lean over, and I lean for the Dallas Stars to get the win. But that's about all I like in this. Rupe Hintz or Ben, I would look at for those anytime goals, but otherwise I would be staying off this one. Let's look at the last one, the Florida Panthers and the Calgary Flames. Current odds on FanDuel, -118 for the Florida Panthers, -102 for the Calgary Flames. Total 6.5. Now that's 6.5 juiced to that under at -122 to the over at +100. This is an interesting one here. We know how strong the Florida Panthers have been defensively. Holding the Edmonton Oilers to only 1 goal and putting up 5 of their own was so impressive in that last game out. It just shows me that this Edmonton Oilers defense and goaltending still isn't where it needs to be. Everyone keeps saying that the Oilers are going to make a huge run. I just don't believe it with the goaltender that they have. Now, Stolarz is confirmed in goal for the Florida Panthers. He's got a 2.19 goals against average and a 0.915 save percentage. Jacob Markstrom back from a finger injury in goal tonight for the Calgary Flames. Now, I don't know how strong I feel about this. He's going to be rusty when he comes out on this ice. We always see Jacob Markstrom come out rusty. Even when he's played like 3 nights ago, he still looks rusty in that first period. We're going to fade Jacob Markstrom in the first period. We're going to look at the Florida Panthers. Jacob Markstrom in the first period, no matter what, has always allowed that quick, sneaky goal and then got into form. I think off this rest because of the injury, we see something very similar here. I love the Florida Panthers in the first period to score the first goal. The Florida Panthers in the first period to score the first goal is coming in at plus 125. Now, if you want to take it all the way to the Florida Panthers puck line in the first period, I don't hate that either. Laying the half a goal, that's coming in at plus 176. So we're getting so much value. I do think this is a game, though. Once Florida goes up, I'm going to come back in and live bet Calgary. I do think Calgary has every opportunity of winning this game. Calgary's defense has been playing strong as well. Their kills hitting at 82.1%. And yes, the kill is strong here for the Florida Panthers as well, 81.4%. The power play isn't as strong for Calgary, hitting it at only 12% and 18.1% for the Florida Panthers. But Calgary has won the last 3 matchups, 7 of the last 10. This is a team that they know how to beat. Now, you got to remember, you got Matthew Tkachuk coming to town. How much the crowd is going to give him troubles tonight coming back to his old home arena. And everyone's feeling really jaded that Matthew Tkachuk did leave us. I think we're in for a complete battle out there on the ice. I do think this one has every possibility of going over that total, even though we know these defenses can lock down. It's scary for Calgary to think that they are going to have to outshoot the Florida Panthers in this one to be able to get the win. But I really do think that happens because I think Florida gets up, they get up fast, and then Calgary has to make one of those comebacks like we've been able to see them do in some of these games. So give me Calgary as a live bet. I'm going to put a little bit of money right now on the money line at minus 102, but I want the plus value if Florida does go up, and that's how I'm seeing this game. Florida going up first, as being able to come back and get some value on the Calgary Flames. Lindholm here for the anytime goal. I love it. He's coming in at plus 250. Other players I would circle here for Calgary: Connor Zary, Mackenzie Weegar, Blake Coleman. I like all of them for those points or anytime goals. I think this one is a higher scoring game. Now, looking at the Florida Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk, Verhaeghe here. Verhaeghe actually for the anytime goals coming in at plus 180. He has been the catalyst of this team as of late, getting those goals on the board. 5 goals in the last 7 games and 31 shots on goal. So I don't hate Verhaeghe to come out. Maybe Verhaeghe for the first goal on Jacob Markstrom. I wonder what Verhaeghe is for that very first goal, because he has been so phenomenally hot. Anytime goal scorers, first goal. Verhaeghe coming in at plus 1,100. It would be kind of fitting, though, if Matthew Tkachuk came out with that first goal for the Florida Panthers on Jacob Markstrom. Got to remember, ex-players know those goalies so well. He's coming in at plus 1,200. You guys, I like it. Lessman, Calgary winning at 3-2. That's an interesting way. I like that number, but I really do think we might have a 4-3 win here, Lessman. What's the odds on the 4-3? I think 3-3 going to OT. I absolutely could see these two teams going to overtime tonight just because I think Florida gets up first. So I would be looking at the 4-3 before I looked at the 3-2 score. But I don't know if I'm willing to bet it. Connor Zary, total goals, over half a goal. He's coming in at plus 290 for Connor Zary for that anytime goal as well. You got to remember, Jonathan Huberdeau, you can look at him tonight to score. I don't mind Huberdeau here. Huberdeau coming in for that anytime goal at plus 300. That's a good way to look as well. Exact score in Calgary, I'd go 4-3. I really do think this is one that has the opportunity of going to overtime. Gustafsson, over 28.5 saved shots on goal. Let's look at Gustafsson here. What are we seeing? Now, he's got a .908 save percentage. We see the Pittsburgh Penguins averaging 33.3 shots on goal and the Minnesota Wild allowing 30.4. I don't mind Gustafsson's save shots on goal. Over 28.5, we know that the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be able to get a lot of shots on him. It's pretty tight to that number because I do really think Pittsburgh could get 4 goals in this matchup tonight. So I prefer it at 27.5, at 28.5. I'm a little bit worried, but I do think we could get there. 100% right on Markstrom. I'm so glad I'm not the only one who sees this. My friends really hate me for it, but Markey always gives up that goal super quick. So I love that value, and that's probably one of my favorite bets is looking at the Florida Panthers. You guys know in other games, we've circled them in that first period because this is a team that likes to get on that board fast and then try to lock down defensively. So I do think the first goal in the first period at plus 125 is a stellar bet. My second favorite being that puck line in the first period, as long as they can hold Calgary off the board. Calgary has been pushing so hard in that first period, trying to get the goal themselves, that it does worry me a little bit. But could this first period end 2-1? It absolutely could. I don't have that much faith in Markstrom in the first period, but I do think he locks down in the second or the third. Hopefully, Florida doesn't put like 3 goals on him in that first period, because he will be yanked if that happens. So we will see what happens there. Yeah. Chucky coming back. Matthew Tkachuk, I really wish I was at this game tonight, you guys. It's going to be an epic one. I hope everyone at least gives him a cheer when he first comes in, and then you can boo him as soon as he touches the puck. But both teams to score in the first period. I'm kind of hesitant with this, both teams to score in the first period. You look at the Florida Panthers and what they were able to do versus Edmonton, but that being said, they've been in Alberta for a while, and you also look at them here. This is their, I believe it's game 5 of a 5-game road trip. So this is their last game on the road. They played Edmonton on Saturday. So they had to be in Alberta. I think tired legs come out in this one, especially defensively. That's where they've been focusing as of late. And I think that's where the letdown comes. So I wouldn't be shocked if both teams scored in the first period. So instead of taking the over 1.5, look for the value of both teams to score in the first period, because you're going to get plus money there. So you guys, that is everything. All the best in all of your bets. I will be live on Game Time Decisions again with Kevin Walsh over on SportsGrid at 6:25 Eastern. So join me in the next hour. I am so glad, Doug, you cashed on Washington with me. That was great plus money yesterday. Let's make some more plus money today. Let's get the plus money on the Panthers to score first in the first period. Where else are we making plus money? Let's get the plus money with no goal in the first period between the Montreal Canadiens and Winnipeg Jets. That coming in at plus 116. Let's get the Red Wings here on the puck line first period at plus 116. I'm laying that half a goal. And then where else can we get plus money? Sidney Crosby, anytime goal, plus 130. The over 3.5 for the Penguins, dangerous. But plus 130, if it cashes, you guys, we got some great plus money tonight. All the best in all of your bets. I will be back here tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern. I don't have another show after, so we can spend the time. It's going to be a loaded show. I hope you guys make some money on the ice tonight. Best of luck in Monday Night Football. Again, if you're wanting those bets, either check out the app. I've got a bet app on the app, SportsGrid app. Just go over to your app store and download the app. You follow your hosts over there. The short, quick 1-minute video on one of the bets I'm liking. But for the rest of my bets, make sure you join me on SportsGrid tonight. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.